Good evening, my dear friends. I welcome you all to the Hindu and the Businessline editorial analysis on July 7, 2022. The first article and the editorial is a very beautiful article on multilateralism amidst the global polarization and the tightrope walk in which India is poised between the nations which are trying to polarize on one front and the countries which want a developmental objective served. The article is titled Words from Bandung Must Relive in the Bali and Delhi. Words from Bandung. The reference is to 1955 conference held by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, accommodating 29 African and Asian nations, and the words spoken by Pandit Nehru to reduce the chances of the warlike situation among the nations by the unalienated region and the objective and the approach, balanced approach to stop the Cold War between nations. In Bali, President Widodo from Indonesia is going to host the G20 countries summit. In Indonesian President Mr. Widodo is similarly placed with Sri Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, in having a balanced approach towards Russia, China, and the rest of European and American nations. The balanced approach is that the global polarization should end, as echoed from the Bali summit or the Bandung summit in 1955, which saw the birth of non-alignment movement. Non-alignment movement was aimed at not aligning with any of the countries which promote global polarization. 29 countries from Afro-Asian nations participated and they voiced a different approach in the war-torn nations, one on one hand and the other on the Russia front. The Cold War started then. Therefore, the balanced approach of Sri Narendra Modi on behalf of India and President Widodo from Indonesia, because the Indonesia is holding the Bali summit starting from today of the G20 nations. The world's most developed nations are G20 nations, and India will be hosting the G20 countries summit in Delhi in November. Today, the Bali summit is all about the foreign ministers summit in which Sri Jaishankar will be attending. The Suhasini Haidar article travels through various summits India attended and the NATO summit in which India did not attend. In various summits, from BRICS summit consisting of Brazil, Russia, China, and India, the G7 countries summit held at Scholz-Elmau in Germany, which India was a special invitee, and the NATO summit, which India did not attend. All these summits, the European nations were against Russia for its war in Ukraine and against China for its aggression. In the BRICS summit, the common front on which the countries, the member countries voiced their concerns together is the economic, some of the economic initiatives, among which the New Development Bank and the BRICS payment system, in which the SWIFT would be substituted with the BRICS member countries payment system, the SWIFT payment system like situation in which transfer of funds could be held. And another importance of the BRICS summit, economic importance of the BRICS summit was that it was voiced that there must be a global currency among the BRICS countries, and the trading in local currencies should be made possible. In the G7 summit, the voices of the European countries and the North American countries, USA and Canada, were against Russia and China. India distanced from these discussions. And what India cooperated was the voice on resilient democracies, which ensured freedom of speech and free and fair elections in member countries. The United States also hold the partnerships in the Indo-Pacific, like partners in the Blue Seas and the AUKUS, consisting of Australia, UK, United States and Japan. The Indo-Pacific Quad Summit, which consists of India, Japan, Australia and US. In the AUKUS, the partnership was with Australia, and in the Quad Summit, the partnership was with India, both forming the different territories around the Indo-Pacific region. The voice was to counter China in the Indo-Pacific region. India is having a balanced approach in all these summits. It is a tightrope walk for India to bring all the summits together in favor of our nation, so that the balanced approach is a kind of example which India delivers in multilateralism. In the recent United Nations General Assembly elections or the voting, the Russia was voiced or voted against for its aggression in Ukraine by around 190 countries. However, 40 countries were independently only opposing Russia. However, India did not support either of these motives. So, India's balanced stand is a vindication since the days of Jawaharlal Nehru, who participated in the Bandung Conference in China. In the joint statement on non-alignment movement, the next article is dealing with the recent Supreme Court decision on freebies being offered by pharma companies to medical professionals, which is amply taken into account while pricing the MRP. The article says that the Supreme Court held that under the Income Tax Act, the deduction on account of freebies cannot be offered to pharma companies. This is a very good move by the Supreme Court to control the prices of the drugs or the medicines being offered through freebies. However, these freebies are seen as not taken into account while pricing the generic medicines. What happens is that this is being prohibited. Offering freebies to medical professionals is prohibited because it ensures that the pharma companies' freebies or medicines would be offered in preference to other medicines, generic medicines which India intends for. The article points out that a initiative from the Medical Council of India or similar disciplinary organizations should come in vogue against the pharma companies resorting to such means. Moving on to the business line, we have an editorial devoted to the progress the insolvency and bankruptcy code made so far in resolutions. Resolution means the companies which are having great debts, they are called as corporate debtors, which will be given a chance to be managed professionally by resolution professionals who will take over the management of the company, just square up the liabilities, outside liabilities of the committee of creditors, and then it will see the resolution process making the company live rather than turning it into dissolution. However, the development so far has seen many companies falling into dissolution. So, the companies, the insolvent companies, which are taken up for resolution process, must ensure that the time taken in getting the resolution process undertaking is not delayed so too far. In most of the cases, it has been seen that the assets of the insolvent companies are being devolved for chartered liabilities. That is, certain liabilities take up the assets of the companies while leaving other assets unencumbered. This is the major roadblock to dissolution of companies and blocking the resolution. Resolution is life-giving aspect, whereas dissolution is the death of the company. What happens is that a prudent approach on this front is needed. The recent study paper pointed out that a prudent approach must be enhanced to see that resolution is getting underway and dissolutions are reduced to the maximum. Another article on crowdfunding for startups says that the crowdfunding aspect should be initiated for startup financing. Most of the venture capitalists and the angel funds are not now interested in funding the startups because the flight of capital is happening to other countries because of central banks interventions. So what happens is that the startups are dearth of funds, so many startups are not able to start. Around 20,000 of them have not been able to start afresh because the funding is the crunch. Crowdfunding involves the public. The public money is being utilized for certain purpose, objective, or for some companies. So crowdfunding is the option which can be tapped for funding the startups. The article says that there are two ways of startup financing: crowdfunding, which is there, that is peer to peer financing, and equity financing. The peer to peer funding is being prohibited by Reserve Bank of India. So Indian government can taper to the equity financing option of the crowdfunding. The crowdfunding equity financing can be placed at the institutional trading platform of the main board or the small trading platform of the OTC, that is over the counter. So crowd financing in equity financing can be made possible only with making public investors investing only 5% of their net worth in startups. Rest of the money can be borrowed from high net worth individuals and eligible net worth individuals. These eligible net worth individuals can be found out by looking at their net worth and the returns of the past 2 years. So, how about this crowdfunding option to fund the startups? This article is going in depth about crowdfunding, which is a very good read. Friends, I have come to the conclusion of today's analysis of the Hindu and the Businessline editorials. I hope the discussion has been useful. Meet you tomorrow with some more topics on the editorials. Till then, bye.